we are going to look at some new tools for our marketing stack. And what I kind of tried to design this particular session as, it's always quite a popular bit of the kind of one-in-one sessions that we do. Really just designed as a real grab bag of different tools and applications that you can apply to different parts of your marketing mix that we've started to hopefully get you guys thinking about over the last few weeks. So yeah, there's I think 16 or 17 bits that we're going to have a look at on the way through here. Some that are kind of more geared around kind of websites and stuff like that. Some that are a bit more geared around lifting social media and stuff like that. So
cool.
there's hopefully a real variety in there that we can.
Brilliant. What I've been doing recently is I'll sort of I'll write down a couple of 2 or 3 pointers that I look at, and I think actually that's really good. And then a couple of days after, I download your slides. So I've got them as on my desktop, and then I have a read through them, because obviously from an hour's worth of slides, you might only take 5 minutes, which think, well, I can use that for this. But yeah, no, I have been downloading them, and no doubt I will be referring back to them, you know, as the weeks roll on.
Oh, that's good. I'm really glad that you've managed to find those useful. Then that's good news. Definitely. So obviously we don't need to do introductions and stuff. Obviously last week we did Q&A. Obviously I say to people that kind of Q&A I'm going to leave kind of open as such. So, you know, if there is anything, any time that you guys kind of come across and think about and occurs to you, then feel free to.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Stuff over. I've heard from Charlene and a few others actually this week since our last session.
Awesome. Did you manage to get Charlene's problem sorted out with?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, there's a few fairly simple routes to hopefully get her back into where she.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because she'd somehow been in a position of losing both her username and her password. So
lovely.
Yeah, as it is, I think with WordPress we should be able to get her back in fairly swiftly. I haven't heard back from her actually in the last couple of days since I sent her over some instructions on it. So
okay, yeah, probably still banging her head against the wall then.
Well, hopefully not, but you never know, do you? But so yeah, this week, like I say, we'll have a look at a whole range of different kind of packages and tools and stuff that you can be making of. So obviously we talked a few weeks back, I think in our first session actually, about our marketing stack being kind of our toolkit, if you will, that refers to all of the different software tools, apps, subscriptions and stuff that we kind of put to use across different platforms in our kind of day-to-day marketing activity. Really, these are kind of broken down, and I'll be honest with you, in retrospect, they're probably not in the most usable of orders. I should probably group them together a little bit more efficiently than I have. But I broadly try and broke these down into 3 kind of areas really. Engagement as a way of trying to make content stand out and attract new users and visitors. Kind of fulfillment to help them get what they need while they're actually within your site and hopefully kind of take that next step. And then analysis, so just some kind of analytics and some tools to assess kind of after the fact what you are kind of doing day to day and how that can be kind of improved and refined to perhaps deliver a little bit more through to you. So in no particular order then, and if any of these that we get to, obviously Seb, if any of them are kind of apps and stuff that you're already familiar with and using day to day, feel free to shout and let me know, because obviously we can skip.
I will do, yeah. If I'm familiar with it, I'll just say, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, that's.
Yeah, no,
I mean, is Canva one you've come across before?
No, never heard of it, no.
Okay, so Canva's a really useful one for helping people, especially people that maybe aren't, designers or haven't got maybe a particularly artistic streak. Enables them to put together really nice kind of graphic assets of all different sorts, really. Anything from kind of Facebook headers through to print and flyer designs, business cards, all kinds of different things. So it's got kind of all sorts of ready-made templates in there. And then you
brilliant.
Very quickly and easily, start to put.
I mean, my creative knowledge is zero. I normally do a nice collage of 2 or 3 things and use.
You say that. I've seen some of your bits out there in the world, and the thing is, they're always on brand. They're always kind of cohesive with the other stuff you're putting out in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I always say I've got OCD, but I like to have a sort of like a bit of a pattern, and I like to have my logo on every 4th post. So I like to have, like today I did a Trustpilot thing because it's been a month since I did one. So I try and do a little bit of a visual one, but I'm quite lucky in the fact that my best friend is he does UX design and stuff like that. So he's the one who's done all my branding originally, does my flyers and stuff. So because I've got all of those on my computer, I can use bits of images and stuff. So, but no, so I am getting a bit I wouldn't say bored, but I'm sort of running out of ideas. So I've just written down this program. So I think it might be useful for me.
But definitely one to think about. I mean, we've put here on this note, you know, customers retain 80% of what they see versus 20% of what they read. And obviously, you'll know from, you know, experience scrolling things like Instagram or Facebook and stuff yourself. You know, it's very easy within a couple of minutes to get into that kind of, now I call it a bit of a zombie state of just kind of scrolling endlessly, and the lights are on, but you know, not much of it is perhaps actually sticking with you. So, you know, with that in mind, yeah, I think you've definitely got the right approach in terms of trying to make sure that what you are kind of putting out into the world is kind of consistent and has got a kind of at least some level of kind of branding in there and stuff to make sure that it's, you know, nice and neat and professional looking. But yeah, obviously Canva's a great way of kind of stepping that up. You know, there's all sorts of kind of photo filters in there. You can use stock imagery or backgrounds, designs, icons. You can kind of remix existing templates and stuff as well to make them your own.
Talking about quickly stock photos, obviously you'll be the person to ask about this. Is it sort of a lame thing for people to use stock images which can be easily used? So for instance, I'm moving my best friend, you know, this designer pal, and his wife turned around to me and she says, "Oh, we're buying loads of boxes.
Okay.
Do you want us to," and I wouldn't say they're photographers, but they know how to use a camera and a bit arty. And they said, "Oh, do you want us to take a few pictures of boxes? So rather than you using stock images of boxes, you know, like when you type in moving day and you get like 3 or 4 boxes and a roll of tape." And I thought that might be quite a good thing. And on actual, when I move though, they're going to actually take a few photos of me. So it's going to be quite a good thing. But it's stock photos, because I see a lot, especially in my game, you know, they have the same picture of a van. It's literally, they type something on Google, the first image what comes up, they'll use. Yeah. Is that sort of, do people look at that and think, well, that looks a bit piss poor? Or is it a case of, you know?
I think it's a lot of it will come down, I think, to personal preference a lot of times. And, you know, there is a danger, especially if you're suddenly, you know, Googling removal services, that you might see the same thing over and over again. So while I'd say, you know, having stuff personalized to yourself and, you know, it's you moving stuff, it's your van, it's your materials and stuff, I think is really important, you know, and I try and make sure wherever we have got the opportunity to do that with clients that we do. But, you know, between A, at the minute, the distancing measures and the limitations on people, and, you know, B, it's sometimes impossible to have something to hand for every occasion. And in that regard, actually, yeah, stock can be really useful, actually, for filling gaps. Because obviously, I think we talked in, I think it was session 2, about how, you know, things with images and videos and stuff would often have much higher engagement rates than just standard.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, from personal experience, I engage more with, especially on like Twitter, a bit of a picture, because the picture will grab me and then I'll read the context. Rather, sometimes if it was a long bit of a script, I'll be like, okay, pass. So I'll try and mix it up. I have seen a lot recently when I have been sort of running out of ideas, when I've gone on Google and I'm looking at stock images, and sometimes you'll see an image with is it a watermark underneath?
Yes.
So, and then it takes you to the site where you can buy the images. I'm thinking, not cheap. You know, if you
want
to,
not, but actually, funny enough, one of the apps that I've got in a couple of slides' time actually is a great app that you can use for locating free stock stuff.
Oh, I like that. Great stuff.
I've got an answer for that question already.
Cool, lovely.
The other great thing that Canva does that's really useful is obviously you can use it to store all of your singular kind of brand assets and stuff. So all your logos and bits like that, you can keep all in one place. And what you can then do, which is also really useful, is, you know, if you've designed say a flyer that you're going to then ultimately say send off to be printed, what you can do then is kind of resize and re-optimize that one bit of work to use in a whole different bunch of different places all at the same time. You know, so if you want to then optimize it to, you know, make it ideal for Facebook feeds or something like that, you can do that quickly and easily.
Is this, I know you're probably going to answer my question, is this a paid app or free? Or
there's free versions and there's paid versions.
Okay.
So you can unlock kind of extra bits of functionality and stuff by doing.
Worthwhile to try the free one and see if it's worth investing.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's something that, like I say, especially for, you know, someone like yourself that's got that desire to try and keep things on brand and consistent and stuff. Yeah, I think it could be something that could be really useful.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, definitely check Canva out, and you can use that from kind of mobile devices, from your desktop, from kind of a range of different places as well. So it's
I mean, I used to be sort of real, like, you know, I'm on the iMac now, trying to do everything desktop, but I'm surprised how much I actually do on the phone. So that the whole iMovie thing I did, you know, even though I've got it on the Mac on the big screen, I did it on my standard iPhone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No,
strange, isn't it? How you move away from sitting
yeah,
there and actually doing it. So
that's great.
crazy, yeah.
Sweet. Well, the next one that I got to talk to you about was again one that's available in free versions and paid versions. So it's one that you can kind of experiment with and get to grips with to start with, without spending anything. This is something called Mojo. I don't know if this is something you've come across before.
Not heard about this one either.
Okay, so Mojo's a really great one. Obviously, there is a temptation with things like Instagram stories, Snapchat, Facebook stories, all that kind of stuff. There is a lot of content out there that even now is still just an image with a bit of text slapped over the top of it, or, a GIF or a sticker or something. And I think, I personally find after I've scrolled again through a certain amount of those, there's times content struggles to get through, actually. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah, I mean, for me at this stage, stories are so new that's quite new. But I'm guess you're sort of been through that phase and past that phase, and now sort of you've seen enough images with a.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what Mojo does is enable you to put together really beautiful kind of animated and kind of multifaceted slides to go into your kind of story content. So you can go in and choose from particular templates that are in there, and use video, text, whatever video, photos, anything like that. There's various kind of icons, animation effects, and you can use them to create, whole beautiful branded, really visual storylines. For some reason, when I tried these a second ago, just to double check they were working, these example videos weren't working, but I've got some example clips that I can send you over on Twitter as a DM for you to have a little look at some of the results.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, sounds good.
But yeah, again, like I say, it's a free one you can download within the App Store, and literally within kind of 30 seconds, just select a few videos and clips from your camera roll and literally start spitting out some really nice, really engaging looking content within those kind of social platforms as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you are kind of starting to get into stories at the moment and looking for ways to make your content kind of stand out and maybe be a little bit more engaging with people day to day, then yeah, Mojo definitely one I'd recommend checking out. Actually.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check that one out, definitely.
With a couple of clients recently, and actually it works really well. Even within the different kind of template streams, there are, say, 6 or 7 variants of the minimal theme, for instance, so that even if you are using 6, 7 different clips all together, it doesn't get repetitive. You can still keep kind of varying things and giving them.
And with both Canva and Mojo, is it limited? Does it, if you pick like the design, does it let you have that in its full design, and only the paid one just give you more choice? Or is it a case that you can get it, but there's a watermark behind it, the standard's only small?
There aren't watermarks on Mojo, but there are kind of limits to the free templates you can kind of make use of. So that, they make a certain amount of the templates and styles and themes available for free.
So you can get a good taste of it for free and then decide whether you want to see more.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely. Okay. And like I say, it's one that within 5 minutes of downloading and opening, you'll be able to create some really nice, really beautiful looking video content potentially.
Oh, decent. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, definitely well worth having a look at Mojo as well. Thirdly, next one along was Pixabay, which was the app I was going to mention to you as a stock image library, which is a really good one.
I think I may have heard of it, but I've never used it. So I'm writing that down now.
Fairly popular, and like if you search for kind of free stock images online on Google or something, it's one that always tends to kind of crop up fairly near the top of the list. And there's a range of different content available within there. So photos, videos are going to be your main two, but at the same time, there's a range of kind of illustrations, vector graphics, and kind of cartoons and stuff that you might want to potentially make use of as well. So there's a massive database of stuff in there that you can make use of. You have to sign up for an account to be able to access like the super high res copies of some of the images and stuff, but it's completely free. There isn't a cost to signing up for the account. It's just a case of being an account holder allows you to access some of the extra versions and stuff that you can't as a free user.
No, I'll definitely I'll give that a check out, because especially because we've been so locked down on that. I was thinking, right, I'm literally on my last few pictures or ideas here.
Yeah,
so it was getting quite scary. I was thinking, because I'm one of these that I don't like. I mean, I have done it a few times, but if you're scrolling on your Instagram and you see like my flyer post, I wouldn't want to post it like within the same scroll. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to repeat it. So I'm always looking for different ideas in that.
Yeah, no, dead useful, that one. And it's also got a mobile app that you can stick onto your phone as well. So even if you are kind of out and you're tweeting from a coffee shop or something for half an hour, you've still got access to all of those
Oh, brilliant. Awesome.
on the fly as well. So yeah, that Pixabay is a really useful one. I'll be honest with you, I use it all the time. And I genuinely can't think that I've ever gone in for something and been told, no, we've got nothing for that. In fairness, over the last few years, it's really beefed up its library to be pretty comprehensive, actually, for most things. That
How does software like that make its money then? Is it just adverts and stuff?
Well, I believe a lot of it is ad driven. So when you go to Pixabay and search for something, the top row of images that get returned back are Shutterstock adverts. And obviously Shutterstock is a stock library that
Yeah, I think I've seen Shutterstock, yeah.
spend crazy amounts of money on there.
I know, I couldn't believe it when I saw.
It's like you can have one photo for £15, or you can pay £150 a month and download 150 photos every single day. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I saw it because I found a really good photo once I was going to use for something, and it ticked all the boxes.
Yeah.
I thought, Christ, I want to pay. I think, yeah, I've looked at it and thought, is it worth that? And I thought, no, I must. No, I didn't click it in the end. But I was close.
There are some beautiful ones out there, in fairness. And I mean, it's another one, Shutterstock. I mean, there are literally thousands of images for any search inquiry you can throw at it. But yeah, you can rack up a decent bill if you're not careful at the outset of a project. So yeah, no, definitely one to have a look at, this Pixabay as well. Next one is one that I think I might have mentioned last week as being really useful for being able to put together video content, which is the Teleprompter app. So
yeah, you did mention it, yeah.
Yeah, so again, just to kind of recap, obviously it's a dead easy one. You load your script into the top of it and literally just play it at the speed that you set the playback speed to. Records you a video out of the front-facing cameras and saves it straight to your camera roll so you can make use of it. Obviously, doesn't leave like a watermark or the script or anything over the top. It does just leave the video clip itself, and then yeah, obviously it keeps you on script, make sure that you get through all of your message in the right kind of order, and make sure that you don't forget anything important. And as we said, as you mentioned, focuses eyes on the lens and stuff as well. So yeah, I reckon if you're going to be doing more video, then
yeah, I'll definitely give it a try, because I was one of these. I didn't have any mock-up cards. I was thought, well, I'm going to say this and that, and then I did a really good video, and then I sort of messed up because I didn't actually know what I was saying.
Sure.
And I thought I remembered, because I did a removal last Friday afternoon after the webinar, and when I got back, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it right now. So I started doing it then, and I thought he did mention a teleprompter sort of app, but I couldn't remember the name was teleprompter.
Yeah.
I just thought, like, say the sentence in your head and remember it. But when you're thinking of that, you're thinking of background noise, you're thinking of eye contact, you're thinking of not shaking because you're using a selfie stick and feel like a 15-year-old girl. You're using all these things. I'm thinking, right, let's just try and get it right. But it's all learning, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And you can pick up, I mean, literally a couple of quid on Amazon as well. You can pick up things like a little mobile phone tripod and stuff that you can...
Yes, yeah. I've got my friend's just said to me, like, he's got one of these sort of like spider tripod things. He said, yeah, try that, see how you get on. And also, I think he said he's got a clip-on mic. So before I sort of lay down some money on him, I think I'll try him and see how I get on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry, just 2 seconds, buddy. I've just I can see someone else just...
Yeah, no worries.
Coming at the top there. So I'm just going to admit Charlene as well. Hey, Charlene, are you there? Can you hear us all right? I think Charlene's just connecting to the audio down there. 2 seconds.
Okay.
Hey, Charlene, are you okay? Can you hear us all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. You had a good week?
Yes, I have. I'm just going to go somewhere quiet, just a moment.
Yeah, no worries.
Right, I'm back.
Cool, no worries. So you haven't missed too much, Charlene. We've covered a few little packages and bits of software. I think this is number 4 or 5 we're on now, but obviously links and slides will be kind of out at the end of the presentation and stuff. But just very quickly, we've looked at, have you covered Canva before, Charlene?
No.
Okay, so Canva, really useful graphic design app for pulling together different assets for literally anything from print to kind of Facebook headers and stuff. So that was one that we brought up for your guys' attention. Obviously, like I say, I'll send the slides and the links after on all of here. Mojo is one that we've recommended as a really useful app for creating really nice branded video content within things like Instagram stories, Snapchat, Facebook stories, stuff like that. So working from various kind of animated templates and stuff, you can put together kind of really nice, engaging visual storytelling content in there, which, you know, for stuff like you're trying to sell, like with the collection, for instance, on Miss Campbell, is one that, you know, potentially you could be showcasing a range of, you know, really nice professional shots, reviews, customer shared photos and stuff, and blending those all together in some really nice, as I say, video-led content. One that's available for free, and as I said a moment ago, is one that you can literally put to work and start kind of creating video content within about 5 minutes of starting with that. So it's one that while there are some kind of paywall content in there, and it's one that to unlock the full functionality, you have to pay a little bit. But yeah, the free version is one that you can get started with right away, and we'll be able to kind of crack on with really easily. Pixabay was the third one we covered, which was a big stock image library, photos, videos, vector graphics, stuff like that, to augment your blog posts, social media content and stuff like that. And then the fourth one was Teleprompter, which is one that I think we've mentioned last week as being a really useful tool if you are doing, you know, kind of 2-camera explainer videos. Hey, here's what I'm up to day to day. So yeah, it's really useful for helping to keep people kind of on track, on message. And as we said last week, crucially as well, by positioning the script at the top of the video screen, like you can see on the right there, actually it helps keep focus the eyes in the right place as well. So yeah, if you're going to be looking at any kind of video-led content as well, that's going to have you kind of in front of a camera talking and kind of explaining stuff as well, then yeah, Teleprompter definitely one to think about as well.
There's a few apps that say teleprompter. Do you know what the background color would be? Is it blue, black?
It's a red app icon with a little white camera. Sorry, I've said that the wrong way around. It's a white app with a little red camera icon. If I stick my phone up to the camera there,
right?
Green icon.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, got it. Video teleprompter, it's called.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I just want to make sure I get the right thing, because
yeah, no worries. Like
there's so many like similar names of things, and then also that experience I had with the chat. So that's why I just want to make sure I get the right ones.
It's terrible when you're searching for something and you think that's it, and you get it, and you think this can't be the one. It's terrible.
Absolutely, that happened to me a couple of weeks back. I took Ben's advice and downloaded chat for my website, and I downloaded the wrong one, and and it was a nightmare. So yeah, I just want to make sure I get the right things.
Sweet. Okay, so the next one is going to be useful for anyone that is working within Instagram. Obviously, one of the great things about Twitter and stuff is that not only do you have the ability to publish your own content on there, but it's obviously really easy to kind of share other people's content and to join in kind of that wider conversation and share stuff that you think will be relevant to your audience as well. Obviously, while there is the option to share certain bits of content within your Instagram stories if you've been tagged and stuff, and you can kind of push stuff out to your own personal stories that way. What there isn't at the moment within Instagram is any way to do that kind of organic, you know, retweet or share as exists within Twitter or Facebook, for 2 examples. So what Repost does is an app that you can download onto your handset again, and essentially work around that. So what it does is take the copy URL of the image within Instagram. So you click on the 3 little dots to the right of the image, copy the share URL of that individual image, and then literally just load up Repost. And what Repost does then is add a little watermark into the bottom corner of the image that you can hopefully see on that mock-up I've put here on the phone. So this is an image I've reblogged from Canoe 2. So it adds the little profile picture and username in the bottom corner. And then by clicking the repost button at the bottom, then it essentially pushes the whole thing back across to your own Instagram feed, copies the original caption with all of the original kind of hashtags and usernames and stuff in there. And you can then push that straight out into your own organic feed then as well, either via the stories or via the actual photo feed. And so, yeah, it's a cute little workaround for the limitations of Instagram within there, and obviously gives you the ability to share, not only potentially relevant content from, if it was me, I sometimes share stuff from some of the graphic design profiles that I follow, or maybe local businesses that I'm interested in. So I'll maybe share content like that with my followers and stuff on there. But again, Charlene, Seb, in both of your examples, actually, what might be great content to share is, your users' experience. So, people wearing the Miss Campbell clothes, people tweeting, sharing pictures of your van pulling down the street, Seb, that we're off on moving day, stuff like that. Little ways of throwing extra kind of user generated content and stuff.
Yeah, brilliant. I've seen it about, do the people that you're reposting, do they get notified of it? Like if someone on Facebook shares your post?
Yeah, well, obviously it when it copies the caption across, it adds a little line at the top that says reposted from @username with repost. So obviously, as soon as you then, providing you leave that caption intact, then they'll get a notification.
Okay, cool.
Higher.
It's a good way. I find that a lot of, especially on Twitter and that, as there's people with similar company sizes to myself where it's sort of trying to build momentum.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll scratch my back, you scratch yours, sort of, trying to get a bit of camaraderie between people. And it's good that, if they're liking my tweets, I'm liking theirs, and vice versa with this. It's quite a good way of doing it. Another way of doing it, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's another stream of content that you don't have to think about.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's sometimes a game thinking of, what's a great caption, what's the perfect hashtag,
it's like having another job sometimes. I'm thinking, right.
It can be, it can be. So this is quite a nice way, as I say, of just kind of expanding that mix a little bit. Next one, I think, is one that I might have mentioned, certainly to you, Charlene, through some of our calls, I think, being IFTTT. Have we mentioned that over the last few weeks?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I think you might have mentioned it. I can't remember it in detail, though.
That's fine. So if is essentially kind of a bit of a recipe book is how they bill it. They go in and you can find recipes. And what that means in real terms is you can kind of go in and connect all of your digital marketing services into one place and find ways of linking them up. So one example, as you can see in the middle of that mock-up there, might be to automatically tweet anything that you send to Instagram onto your Twitter profile. So, every time you push something out onto your Instagram profile, the same picture, caption, and a link back to the original post on Instagram will get sent out onto Twitter as well.
It's a bit different to Buffer, is that you're telling it to schedule it? This is saying you combine.
Buffer is more kind of planned, scheduled delivery of content. If is more of it's a slightly cruder methodology in that you kind of put it on there once and it just pushes everything out that meets that criteria, so anytime you put something on Instagram, it will push it to Twitter, as kind of a hardwired default. But yeah, I mean, I've used the example of linking up to social media platforms there, and there are, innumerable ways of doing that. But at the same time, there's all kinds of other kind of clever little things it can do as well, in terms of, you might want to collate a list of Google alerts about your business and then have them shared in a Google Drive spreadsheet, something like that. There's all kinds of different ways that you can set up kind of distinct little bits of your marketing activity, even maybe something that goes, that only takes me half an hour a month. Actually, if you can set it to work automatically and not have to worry about, once a month putting together a spreadsheet of all your Google mentions, for instance, then yeah, it's a way that you're going to be able to build a little bit of time back each week, each month back into your kind of working day as well. So yeah, it's one that, like I say, it's free to get involved with. And dead easy to kind of turn things on and off if you go in and go, actually, unintended consequences now means that, my Twitter is now full of stuff that I don't necessarily want it to be. Then, it's dead easy to go back in and turn those rules off and refine them as you need to. But yeah, have a little look. There's a really useful handset app that you can use to drive most of that activity, as well as going online to do it. And like I say, it's something that you can fairly quickly put together and set up. And then, like I say, just leave your, your social media, some of your more, day-to-day kind of what you call maybe your dog's body jobs, just leave them to get done kind of automatically behind the scenes, you know. Like I say, that's just IFTTT with your searching in your app stores or Google as well.
Yeah.
On the subject of Google, I think we've potentially mentioned the Google Keyword Planner a couple of times, but I always kind of reinforce it to people as I think it's a really useful tool for you guys to have a look at, not only in terms of, you know, potentially planning your AdWords campaigns and helping to work out, you know, what keywords and stuff you should be focusing campaigns on, but obviously if you're starting to think about things like, you know, blog content, or, you know, maybe looking at expanding the way some of your services are presented online, things like that, it'll also help you to start to identify not only kind of popular keywords, but what the trends are around some of those search terms, and, you know, how you can start to tailor some of your activity to meet that kind of audience halfway, if that makes sense. So it's one that you don't need to kind of be running a Google AdWords campaign or anything like that to actually make use of. If you've got a Google business, a Google account set up for your business already, then you can start to make use of that, you know, straight away, and start to identify, you know, actually, what is my audience searching for? You know, is what I'm doing, you know, going in the right place, or are we completely missing the mark? So it's one that can sometimes be a little more kind of a bit of a rabbit hole in terms of time and focus, because obviously, you know, the world is your oyster in terms of the kind of the information that you pull out of there. But yeah, I think it's definitely one, certainly within kind of any kind of paid AdWords campaign, anything like that, it's a crucial piece of the puzzle right at the start. But like I say, even if it's just kind of starting to think about your on-page copy and your blog content, stuff like that, is something that will hopefully be able to guide a few more of those decisions right from the off. This next one is one that Charlene made reference to a second ago, which is a bit of software called Talk. Seb, I don't know if this is something you're aware of. Is it particularly?
No, don't think I've come across this.
Okay, so Talk is an amazing bit of software that we've been making use of over the last 6-7 months or so. We started introducing it on client sites. So essentially it enables you to offer kind of live.
You've got this on your own site, haven't you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
because I had yours up and it kept pinging me like a notification, and I said like a live chat, and I thought, well, that's looks pretty cool.
It's really useful, actually, yeah. And it's one that, I mean, I've got a client that we put it in for just before Christmas last year, and you know, no exaggeration, it's delivered somewhere in the region of 150 grand's worth of sales through the last 6 months for those guys. In terms of it, kind of increasing their on-page leads and turning the number of web visitors they were having into actual buying customers, it's been ideal, you know, to close that gap for people to be able to ask a question, get the information they need right off the bat, and actually be kind of. We talked a couple of weeks ago in the digital marketing funnel, and we talked about that process of hand-holding our users and our web visitors through to the next stage of the process. And Talk's absolutely golden for that. You know, if you've fought your way to the top of Google, you've got someone to actually kind of come to your site, maybe spend a little bit of time on there. The last kind of part of that puzzle quite often is actually someone giving that user the last little nudge or bit of information they need that actually gets them clicking the buy button, and actually having that conversation with people, we found, has been a really reliable driver of that. The other thing, obviously, that it does do as well is that it keeps people within your website really efficiently as well. You know, if they're in the middle of having a conversation with you and asking something they need to know, they're not going to go disappearing off to some other website in the meantime, because they're actually waiting for an answer. So we've actually found as well, clients that have introduced this onto their sites have started to see actually substantial increases on both the time spent on the site and the number of pages being visited per visit as well. So yeah, it's one that I definitely think would be worth looking at for both of you. And I know, Charlene, I'll circle back in a second and ask how you've been getting on with it so far, but it's one that definitely encourage people to have a look at. Obviously, it comes with a really useful mobile app, so you can administer it and work within your browser if you're on a desktop or a laptop. But at the same time, one of the key things for it for me is this mobile app as well, because it means, you know, Seb, you mentioned, you know, if you're out on the road doing a removal job or something like that, you're not going to be able to sit in front of a laptop and take inquiries. But what you do is when someone starts a conversation with the chat, you get an instant notification on your phone, like a text message that comes through, and you can, as you see on the right hand side there, then it loads the chat window straight into you straight into the chat window then, so you can engage with them as you need to, kind of right away, answer their questions. And then
I do remember you talking about it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I mean the fact that you can do the thing on your phone as well makes it really easy. So it's basically like putting a Facebook Messenger on your website, so you can begin the chat and then sort of carry it on.
Essentially, yeah. And as you've seen on my site as well, and we've done it on a few client sites, you can set up kind of custom triggers and stuff like that as well. So, for instance, we've got a client site where one of the big pages for them is getting people to book a demo on their premises. So we've got a trigger set up on their website so that when users spend more than kind of 20 seconds on that page, it pings up going, oh, hey, see you're interested in booking a demo. Here's a link to a blog post that talk about, some of the reasons that a demo makes sense. Please let us know if there's anything that we can do to help or provide at that point. And by setting up some of those more kind of customized triggers through the site as well, you can offer people that kind of personalized introduction without actually having to monitor kind of what they're doing and what they're looking at, because all of those triggers happen automatically based on what users are looking at and engaging with your site as well. So, Charlene, you've been kind of up and running with this for a few days now. Have you managed to get to grips with it okay? Oh, I can't hear you, Charlene. I think you might be muted.
Sorry, I'm muted for a moment.
There we go.
Kids were a bit loud. I have been using it now for at least a week and a half, and it's been fantastic. Really easy. Download the app. So, like you said, Ben, I get a notification if anyone wants to talk. And I just think it's really professional. So it's good that you can engage. What I like about it is sometimes with online chats, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, Seb, but sometimes like if you try to talk to your bank's online chat, it's predicted answers. So you're not actually speaking to someone, whereas this is the customer engaging with you. So it's really nice, feels really personal. I think it's brilliant. I was just annoyed I downloaded.
Really good.
Yeah, it's really. I was just annoyed I downloaded the wrong one because I knew Ben wouldn't have led me to would have charged. So I was like, this isn't right. What have I done? But once I spoke to him and figured out which one I needed to download, since I've been using it, it's been really good. So like I said, I've got the app on my phone, and it's just like a text message. So I just get a notification that someone wants to talk, and then I talk. So,
and what happens if, let's just say, it's late at night and someone's speaking to you for a good 10 minutes, you've got a good rhythm of messages together, and then the next day they say, okay, let me think about this purchase or this idea, and then the next morning they come back. Is there any way that I take it at the end of it they can save the transcript? Is there any way that you've got reference to it so you can think, well, hang a minute, I spoke to 4 customers last night?
Yes, so there's like a repository, isn't there, Charlene, that you can go all your old messages, and react.
Oh, that's good, because I mean, I try and be as personal as I can, but people have called me from 2 years ago and say, oh, it's David from Jones Street, and I'm thinking, and I try and remember them, and I'm looking for my notes and thinking, you know what it's like. It's good to have some sort of. I mean, I really appreciate when you get that personal touch, so I try and do that to my customers. So it's good that there's some sort of backlog that you can remember them instantly, but not really.
I just wish I was doing this before. It's really good.
Brilliant.
Use
for it, Charlene. That's awesome. And the other thing kind of on that to mention as well, you might be able to see those options on the mock-up on the right-hand side there. But when you've finished a conversation, you can email a copy of the transcript either to yourself or to the user that you've been talking about. And you can also use it to kind of create work tickets as well. So organizations that have got maybe a dozen employees that might all have potential actions coming out of this, by setting them up their own accounts for the software, you can create tickets to send to them. So for instance, I get them in quite often through my for the Spaceback guys that I work with, and sometimes it's a case of queuing up tickets for the sales team. Sometimes it might be a technical query that needs to go to the workshop and stuff, so depending on what the action is at the end, you can set up particular.
So for instance, I'm sitting on the sofa late at night tonight, ready to go to bed. Somebody says, look, moving house, can you come out for a quote? And I'm sort of half asleep, to give them the normal conversation. They say, look, let's book a quote in tomorrow at 7. I can set a ticket to myself, so remind myself to put it on my to-do list
correct,
morning or whatever. Sounds good.
Absolutely. And if you can also kind of set up a schedule for it as well, so that, you know, it's open. I've got mine from 8 till 10, it's open. And then from 10 till midnight, from 10 at night till 8 the next morning, then what you get is a pop-up box that says, hello, really sorry I'm not here right now, but if you leave your name and your email and a message, I'll come back to you as soon as we can. And then that sends you an email with those messages in the morning.
That sounds
you can
superb,
make sure, you know, if you know, I don't know, if you know you coach kids football Friday nights or something, you can even block it out on a 2-hourly basis and go, I'm not taking calls in that block there. You can be really prescriptive about it, which is really useful.
Brilliant.
Cool. Okay, so next one is one that we tend to find is quite an alternative to MailChimp, which I know we've mentioned a few times over the last kind of few weeks and months, and is you know, a really useful, powerful tool. But we thought we'd be a little bit fair and mention another package today that is an alternative for MailChimp. This is one called Opt-in Monster, which has got a really powerful different set of tools available for you guys in terms of being able to set up and develop your email lists over the weeks and months that you're potentially running these campaigns. It's a system that integrates with all different kinds of website providers, so WordPress, Squarespace, a whole different bunch of website platforms. And what it essentially enables you to do is set up a whole different range of options, whether they be, you know, sign-up forms, landing pages, particular bits of forms and functionality that sits within your website content to capture data, whether that be even something as sophisticated as, you know, you need to enter your email address to unlock this particular part of content. It gives you all kinds of clever little tools and bits of ways that you can essentially extract email addresses from people and plug it straight into your email marketing software as well. So it's one that there are some costs involved to Opt-in Monster to unlock some of the real kind of heavy duty kind of functionality in there, but it's one that for businesses that are, you know, maybe potentially really sales focused, or, you know, kind of online retail, something like that, where actually working with and trying to develop big email databases is going to be potentially part of the process for you over the kind of the coming weeks and months, then yeah, that might be something to consider as well. Obviously, there are various bits of kind of whizzy functionality within the back end that you can kind of make use of. I think we talked about the idea a couple of weeks ago of having kind of drip-fed marketing campaigns to try and touch base with your users at every step of the process, you know, whether that be, you know, the 2 or 3 emails around signing them up to your email list, following up on quotes, all of these different kind of chains of activity that you might want to deploy to engage with your audience on kind of a weekly, monthly basis. You can geographically target content depending on where users are, if it was a, you know, a region specific or country specific campaign that you were doing. And at the same time, depending, I wouldn't want to assume what systems you guys are currently using to track your CRM information and your customer data at the moment. But if you're running something like, you know, HubSpot, Pipedrive, any of those kind of CRM systems, then Opt-in can integrate with all of those and make sure that all of your data flows through to the same kind of central repository point as well, so you don't end up with these kind of big vast silos of data in different places that might be, you know, perhaps in various stages of freshness and completeness. So yeah, certainly if kind of trying to develop that big sales funnel right at the top of kind of email addresses and starting to mobilize those as part of your digital marketing, then yeah, it's definitely one to consider, I would say. To a similar end and at the free end of the spectrum, an alternative to Opt-in Monster that we've been using on a few client sites over the last few years is a package called Sumo, which you can find at sumo.com. And again, there's a range of different kind of plugins and bits of functionality that Sumo offer to website owners. You can integrate it with WordPress, Shopify, and a few other places as well. And there's a whole range of different bits of functionality that you can then drop into your website, whether that be kind of pop-up boxes like you can see on the right for joining our letters, whether it be something like welcome mats. Do you guys know what a welcome mat is? Okay,
not sure.
So, you know, when you're browsing a website and out of nowhere, you'll be happily reading the blog post that you are, and suddenly the whole screen will drop down with an advert and a box that says, oh, hey, if you enjoyed this blog post, you might want to sign up your email address here.
That's like one of my pet hates, that is.
Yeah, it's.
I think isn't Northampton Chronicle website or one of the Northampton papers. Literally, every time I'm trying to click on Facebook, I think, I'll read that, and it comes up straight away. I'm like, exit.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, the Chronicle website drives me nuts.
Terrible. I mean, you want to support them, but come on.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if it was just a case of, let us have your email address and we'll keep you updated, that'd be something. But the thing that bugs me is, it's every time you go on and it's quizzes and it's do this and do that and give us your feedback. And
I think the amount of readers they must lose from that.
Yeah, no, it is a shame. Don't get me wrong, those welcome mats, they are highly intrusive and quite divisive. They are also quite effective, in terms of a blunt instrument to hammer people with to try and generate email addresses. Then, yeah, they can be quite an effective instrument. So you've got the option to develop kind of bits of functionality like that for your site as well. Obviously, we talked during one of, I think it was Digital Marketing Part 2, we talked about making it really easy for our website visitors to potentially share content that they like out to their own social media feeds as well. So Sumo gives you a whole range of different options for that, to be able to plug in sharing buttons and float in social media bars that kind of follow the user around the site and stuff to make sharing your content really easily. And on the intelligence side, the other thing that Sumo have got are some really interesting kind of analytics and things like heat maps and stuff. So you can enter, say, the homepage URL of your website and see kind of at a glance where users are scrolling to, what areas of the page people are clicking on, which links aren't being clicked on, and as a result, what content is potentially being missed. So it can very quickly and very easily kind of give you quite a nice picture of, actually, this website, it looks great on the front and I've got the homepage looking exactly how I want it. But, the user data tells me that all of this stuff below the fold isn't getting engaged with at the moment and is being completely missed by our users. So, when you're kind of having a look at, what's working and what's not working on your site, the analytics themselves, whether that be kind of Google Analytics or another package, that will tell you a certain part of the story in terms of the stuff that people are actually looking at. But things like heat maps and stuff are a really useful and really visual way of kind of seeing at a glance, as people are making their way through my site, what is the stuff that's jumping out to them and what is the stuff that's unfortunately getting missed. There are some paid options for Sumo available that you can kind of upgrade and kind of add onto your package. Largely, though, the tools are free for you guys to be able to kind of make use of as well. So have a look. Like I say, there are, for all of these tools, various options that you can kind of make use of and put to work. But yeah, Sumo is one that we think they definitely offer some really useful functionality for free. Anything that kind of is potentially giving you a bit more intelligence, a bit more of a clearer picture of what's going on, and at the same time be adding things like your emails to the database and stuff as well, then it can be something that, for free, can be delivering quite a bit of value to you guys. The next one for anyone that's kind of working across multiple social media platforms that might be quite useful is something called Mention. I don't know if this is an app you guys are familiar with at all.
No.
Okay, so Mention is a really useful app for kind of monitoring the conversation online and finding out, actually, what are people saying about Ms. Campbell? What are people saying about So Very Creative, or, NASA, to use the example of this mock-up on the right-hand side here. So it's one that you can sign up to for free. Again, with all of these, a lot of them offer a freemium model, so it's free to get in. And if you want the all singing, all dancing version, it's a little more expensive. So when you sign up for your free account, you can connect multiple social media accounts and stuff in there. So I think on the free account, you can add up to 3 accounts in there to be able to start trawling and tracking. And yeah, it just monitors the kind of the conversation on all of those platforms then for kind of hashtags and your specified list of keywords and brand names and stuff to see, quite honestly, what people are saying about you, so that obviously you can either, encourage that and, thank people for what they're talking about, or, vice versa. If someone is publicly moaning about a negative experience that you've had, then there's an opportunity to kind of identify that, shut it down, and kind of deal with it in quite an efficient kind of public way as well. So it's a really useful one, especially if you've got all kinds of activity happening across a range of different platforms, and you've maybe not got the time to be able to sit and, trawl every night to see, what are people saying, what does the conversation look like. This is something that can compile all of that into one really easy to use dashboard and kind of keep tabs of that all in one place. As well as social media, it is something that you can use to kind of trawl websites, forums, blogs, review sites, which potentially, for someone like yourself, Seb, could be really important as well for keeping on top of those external reviews.
I find Trustpilot and reviews is massive for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it will monitor kind of those kind of platforms and keep an eye on what people are saying about you on there as well. And the other really useful thing that it can do as well, just to kind of nudge it one step further along, is obviously you can do a certain amount of analysis of the competition and benchmark their kind of activity and successes.
Yeah,
as well.
Trustpilot have introduced it. I mean, I use Trustpilot, but just on the free service, but I can put lots of different companies up to quite a few, and I can compare their sort of reviews and stuff, which I find quite useful.
No, absolutely, yeah. And like I say, that will hopefully give you quite a nice.
Can I ask a quick question regarding not about this particular app, but regarding being mentioned? I had a problem the other day, and I looked through online, and it said, well, as long as you've got all your notifications set up and you're not restricting it, it shouldn't be a problem. I'm referring to Facebook.
Okay.
A lot of people are tagging me, not tagging my personal profile, my page, I am Manavan, but I'm getting 0 notifications from that. And to be honest, I can't remember that I've actually ever had a notification saying. I normally just stumble across it because I follow all the local groups anyway. And I feel that I'm missing out on a great deal of ones because I'm not necessarily, normally if somebody puts Seb Smith, I will get that alert, I will see it, and then I will either message him directly, put a bit of my flyer, put a link to a Trustpilot review, whatever. But now I found quite a few in the last week where I've gone on there and I've seen, hi, Manavan 48 hours ago. And I'm thinking, that's a job that I haven't got. That
sounds like maybe just the notifications within the page have either been changed or just aren't quite set.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure because I Googled it and it said that go into it. I'm sure I went into notifications and it didn't look like anything was restricting it. So I'm thinking,
what might be useful is if you can send me a screenshot perhaps offline of your notifications bit within your page, that might be quite a good.
I'd appreciate that, Ben. Yeah,
that's all right. And then pop that over and let me have a look. Are you using the Pages Manager app?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say that's normally fairly good.
Yeah, I didn't use that for. I've been trading 4 years. I didn't use that I started using it about 18 months ago, and I was a little bit hesitant because one of the guys that I subcontract to and vice versa, he runs a removal firm, he started using it and he said, sometimes it's a bit crashy, it's a bit weird, but I must admit I really get on with it in terms of notifications. I've linked up my Instagram, the messages is a lot better than when you used to do it on the Facebook app where you could hardly see the box. So I really benefit from it, but I feel like I've either pressed the wrong setting, which I don't think I have because from what I can see, but I feel like I'm missing out on something major because I'm not getting any notifications of obviously these tags.
No, absolutely. And potentially you don't know what notification you're missing. It could potentially be new business. Worst case, it's potentially,
I mean, like you say, you're always going to get some negativity, but if you can find it, then at least you can address it. You can learn from it or whatever. But yeah,
absolutely. Like I say, send me a screenshot of your notification settings.
Appreciate that, Ben. Thank you.
Your page when you get a chance, and I'll look see if there's anything that immediately jumps out at me as a fix for that. If that's
brilliant.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so next one, I don't know if you've come across this at all before, Grammarly. Have either of you come across Grammarly before?
No.
Okay, so Grammarly is essentially kind of a keyboard plugin that you can download for iOS and Android. And what it does is kind of add a whole load of really powerful editing and copy checking tools into your kind of text editor as you go along. So you're kind of writing social updates, blog posts and stuff. Not only will it do kind of a spelling, punctuation, grammar check on there for you, but it will also use kind of AI to read through the message and actually give it a score based on things like tone as well. So, is this a formal email? You can see at the bottom, is it friendly? Is it unfriendly? Is it, are you chasing for payment? Is it distinctly unfriendly, And so it can give you a really good kind of feel for actually, if you actually read this and thought about what this means, is that kind of a really useful last step before you publish it. In terms of, obviously, if you're pushing lots of stuff out into the world, there are times stuff will slip through. I see quite often posts and stuff from people with the little edited button on it where they've obviously noticed something after the fact that they've had to go in and change later.
I'm guilty of that all the time.
Yeah, no, it's only human, it's only natural. It's one of those things, but this is a really great way of trying to get some of those weeded out right from the start, and make sure that actually what you're saying is kind of punchy, well written, and doing the job right from the get-go. You can also integrate with things like Google Docs, Microsoft Messenger and stuff as well. So you can use it in a range of different kind of platforms, as well as, just within things like Twitter and stuff when you're doing it. And I put a note at the bottom there that says you can even add it to things like your web browsers as well. So if you're using Safari on Mac, for example, you can use it as a plugin within there and stuff as well. So it's something that you can use kind of cross devices to make sure that all of the kind of copy, the tweets, anything like that you're pushing out into the world is well written, well spelt, and doing what it's supposed to as well.
Does it also like give you like a thesaurus option to give you choices or not?
Do you know what? I can't remember off the top of my head if there's a thesaurus in there or not. I think there might be, actually.
Because I'm forever, like when I'm doing a new paragraph, with like a small post and it's just punchy lines, I'm thinking, well, I don't want to use that word. So I'm always Googling it and thinking.
There's a really good one called Hemingway as well that does copy checking and thesaurus stuff. And that's, don't get me wrong, again, there's dozens of options, but Hemingway is another quite popular one that people use.
What's that, a website or an app?
I believe both, actually.
Okay.
You can use it on both. But like I say, it sounds like a really obvious thing, that is it correctly spelt and well punctuated and stuff as well. But I think it's one of those things that immediately turns me off as a consumer if I come across brands that they got misspelt and stuff that you read it.
I'll be honest with you, my local Indian takeaway is brilliant, but I didn't order for them for 6 years because their menu said, would I like a tandoori naan?
For real, that's amazing.
So I always think, whenever I do a post, I'm always, give it to my friend or my wife, or, send it to someone and say, look, can you check it? And sometimes it'd be as simple as, why have you got 2 spaces between those words?
Yeah.
But I think that's mild OCD. But if you see a spelling mistake, especially like me seeing none rather than none, I thought, if they can't get that right.
No, it's jarring. And the thing is, especially at the moment, you can't take any chances. If a spelling mistake is going to be something that turns off one customer, that's one customer we can't afford to lose right now. So as silly as it sounds, making sure everything is kind of well written and nice right at the start is a good place to work from, I'd say. Next one I've mentioned here is something called Play. If you search for this in your app stores, you're going to need to search for Play, Plai -marketing, because there are a few apps that you'll find listed as Play. What this does for iOS and Android devices is try and pull together some kind of key marketing services all in one place. So things like Google ad campaigns, Google Analytics, Facebook and Facebook ad campaigns, YouTube. You can pull all of these kind of digital services together in one place and essentially create kind of a single dashboard for all of that activity. So not only can you kind of access the analytics and the intelligence from all of those places in one kind of collated resource, but at the same time, you can also kind of create ad campaigns for multiple platforms from the same place and publish them from there. And you can also do a certain amount of keyword research and trend research within there as well. So it's a really useful one if you guys are planning on doing stuff, as we say, across multiple platforms, as we've talked about over the last few weeks. And especially if you're going to be needing to rely on things like the intelligence from your ad campaigns and your analytics all in one place, then Play is an app that can certainly help to speed up and make that kind of reporting process a lot more efficient, and obviously B, just gives you a much more complete picture if you've got everything all in one place, rather than try and have to reconcile different reports from 5 different platforms to get a unified view of what's working and what's not. Then something like this will make that.
Does it go into more detail than, say, the standard analysis you get off a Facebook ad, or is it the same but you can just compare different accounts?
It's the same but pulled together obviously in one place, which
Okie dokie.
is the main kind of,
because I like I said to you a week or two ago, I ran quite a successful Facebook campaign where my main purpose was to try and gain more page visits and likes, and it did that threefold. But I found it quite interesting to look at to analyze the results afterwards, to say, right, what age group, what gender, what did it appear to, and I thought to myself, if I was going to do another advert of that sort of similar post, maybe I'll spend all my money and I'll just do it towards this sector of people. So I wasn't expecting to gain that from it, but it was worth just the investment of the ad to learn how it worked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Increasingly, we've seen, and we've talked over the last few weeks. The more you know, the more you can kind of tailor what you're doing to meet your audience in the middle. Which, for ad campaigns is hopefully going to make them both more efficient and cheaper for you. But ultimately, all that's going to do is speed up the process of you connecting with people and selling your wares and services to them. So yeah, like I say, it's one that doesn't necessarily add anything particularly extra to the information that you'll get from all of those places. But yeah, like I say, it does pull it all together into one unified kind of dashboard experience for you guys to be kind of making use of. Next one is something called Fastory. I don't know if you guys have come across this name at all, but I imagine the kind of the results that this bit of software can help you generate is maybe something that you have come across day to day. Obviously, we talked at the start with Mojo about how it can kind of put together some slightly more interactive and engaging video content and stuff for your Instagram stories. And Fastory kind of takes that approach and kind of expands it and develops it a little bit further. So to start with, obviously, you can put together really nice kind of branded content that will help you stand out within kind of that kind of vertical video field. So things like Instagram stories, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook stories. So, but in addition to putting together the really nice branded content to help people, make a splash and stand out when people are scrolling news stories, you can then expand that and kind of build the next few steps of that journey as well, if you will. So, when you say swipe up on an Instagram story and visit a website.
I've always wondered how that's done.
Yeah, so obviously you have to have a certain number of Instagram followers to be able to unlock that.
Okay.
So when you then have unlocked that, obviously, what that essentially does is build in the ability for you to link through to the main kind of website as such for your business or a particular page that you want to send them through to. However, obviously, sometimes that might not be the ideal or the optimum place to send someone within the overall kind of context of them sat scrolling Instagram, which is where they were at the beginning. So what you can do with Fastory is put together really nice kind of custom landing experiences. So whether that be something like a kind of a custom homepage, or whether that be kind of more kind of interactive, engaging content when people land on that landing page. So, for example, you can use Fastory to create quizzes for users that then open the landing page, or it might be that what it does is open a chat bot and start a dialogue with that individual user. It could be something as kind of fun and engaging as a game, there are kind of all kinds of interactive options that you can put in there that are all designed to be kind of really engaging experiences. So rather than just be, please complete this sign up form, actually it's oh, hey, play this game for 10 minutes and at the end give us your email address and you can be added to our leaderboard, something like that. So it's creating more kind of engaging, more interesting experiences for people to try and ultimately get them to the same place, whether that be visiting the website, whether that be giving your email address to them. It's just finding really nice, really visual, tactile ways of doing that and kind of creating those kind of cool experiences for people. The next one I wanted to mention to you guys is one that I think we might have mentioned briefly as part of our kind of session last week. But obviously, Seb, you mentioned you've been kind of working with iMovie this week and starting to get to grips with
definitely
editing video clips and stuff. Adobe Premiere Rush is a really useful kind of alternative to something like iMovie, and one that actually we find offers potentially a little bit more kind of bang for your buck in terms of the functionality that you can unlock, and honestly the production value that you can add to your clips as well. So it's one that you can sign up for a free Adobe ID at adobe.com. And I don't know if you guys are kind of Adobe members already or not, but you can spend hundreds of pounds every month on Adobe software subscriptions, and I do. But they also offer a whole range of about a dozen free apps that you can be making use of as well, from kind of cut down Photoshop editor to this one, Adobe Premiere Rush, which is for kind of creating and editing video sequences in a really kind of intuitive, quick manner. So it's one that enables you to offer all the same kind of visual flourishes that you would expect from video edited software. So whether that be logos, watermarks, on-screen text, transitions between scenes and stuff. There's a whole range of different functionality in there. But what it has got over and above something like iMovie is a little bit more capability for things like color correction and some of those more detailed bits of video work that you might want to sit and tweak with a little bit more kind of time and confidence to sit and actually explore video as a medium. Then it's something that, yeah, it's got a little bit more kind of power and functionality for actually
I was quite impressed with the iMovie sort of the audio database it had,
yeah,
sort of like little samples, and I mean, I use one of the, I hope it's not too cheesy, but like a little 5-second audio clip with my logo before it started.
Yeah.
And it was a wide choice of that. So, you know, I thought, wow, that's quite good. You know, I haven't had to search for it, click of a button, and it was there. Does this have a similar little bit
of audio?
Yeah.
There's a really big library of kind of downloadable things if you want, you know, a particular transition or an animation effect or something like that. There's a whole library of bits that you can download, and by the way, drop straight into your video timeline and stuff. As you can see from that video on the right, the actual kind of experience of working within it is fairly similar to iMovie in terms of kind of how the timeline stacks up, and you can kind of add you know, audio, voiceover, whatever you need to over there. But yeah, it's one that's got a really kind of powerful and growing range of kind of effects, transitions, and kind of add-ons on there to give you, hopefully, you know, if we talk.
I think I'll give it a go. I mean, the one problem, well, I say problem, I mean, like I said, I did, it took me maybe an hour to compile 4 clips, and then maybe I just spent a total of 5 or 6 hours over the course of the weekend just editing in little bits and bobs. That was only because I had the time and I was willing to do it.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed that perhaps was an issue was that when I was sort of on my selfie stick and I was clicking it and then sort of talking straight away. But when I was editing it, even as I was doing like a transition, and I noticed that the videos were starting too soon, it was almost like I should record it, wait a second, and then go into it. Do you understand what I'm sort of saying? There was like it was, when like I was sliding over, I was limited to what sort of transition I could have because the video would start too soon. And I was almost thinking, like, if I could redo that whole thing again, I'm happy with how it's come out. But every single, I think there's 4 clips. Each of the 4 clips, I wish that I'd maybe started it a second earlier and finished it a second later. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, definitely, as you spend more time within there and get used to working within there a little bit more, it's something you'll very quickly be able to cut that hour edit time down to 15 minutes but once you've been kind of working within there for a little while, and especially if you've, you know, if a lot of your videos are going to make use of the same kind of assets and stuff, you know, that little sting at the front with your logo and maybe a call to action at the end and stuff, you can even kind of set up kind of templates and stuff in there and leave those to come.
It'd be good to have a template like the beginning and the ends are sort of the same, and then I'm just adding the sort of 30 seconds in the middle.
Absolutely, yeah. And like within iMovie, for instance, you know, before you, rather than open a new project, you know, next time you go in, if you click the duplicate project option, you'll be able to essentially do exactly.
I did have a play with that. Yeah. I mean, I was really impressed with the iMovie on my phone. Like I said, I did the whole thing on my phone.
Yeah.
And it was really easy.
No, it's dead useful for that. Like I say, I think it's something with a bit of practice and experience, you'll be able to trim that time down.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps for the next one, I'll probably try this Adobe and see how I get on.
Yeah, it's worthwhile trying out. Like I say, it's one we tend to find has got a little bit more kind of shine and performance to it, but it's one that does have a few more options to it. So if you are kind of starting cold, it might take you, you know, a little bit of time just to work out kind of where everything is. But yeah, we love it personally. We think it's one that, again, you can work with really easily across kind of a bunch of different devices. And I've put at the bottom the last note, you know, you can export directly to your social channels from directly within there as well. So it's one that you can literally kind of put the clips together and push straight out and stuff all in one place. So yeah, definitely well worth having a look at Adobe.
I did find, I mean, I don't know if this was just because it was my first time doing it. So when I saved it, because I thought to myself, I knew from experience that Instagram, I didn't want it to go into the sort of like click to continue. I wanted it to be all in that time scale.
Sure.
So I tried to get it 55 seconds to a minute. And when I was saved it, I think I saved it. I thought, well, I don't need 4K, but I'll save it to 1080p. So it's a good standard. And the size of it wasn't too big. But I think I remember when I was uploading it to Facebook and especially Twitter, the quality sort of like went pretty poor. Is that across the norm, or should I have saved it as a different file format? Or
well, more than anything, that's kind of a problem. Not a problem, but it's a glitch within Facebook and Twitter. It's just the way they will compress your video files.
Okie dokie. And I think that I sort of expected that to be the case, but I think
Facebook itself is notoriously bad for it. The algorithm that they shove videos through on Facebook is horrible. But it's all designed to mean that, you know, the video files are as small as possible, so that whether you are sat in front of the TV scrolling or whether you're in the middle of a field at a festival, that video starts the second that you get to it.
I mean, that's
where we are in 2020. No one wants to wait 4 seconds for a video to start.
I know. So I think the only thing that sort of highlighted it to me was sort of my quality. Yeah, I think the only thing that highlighted to me was the sort of my audio quality wasn't. That's why I thought to myself, well, I need a mic, because when the video quality was reduced a little bit, the audio wasn't as crisp as say when I put it on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, again, like I say, the audio will be going through exactly the same kind of compression.
Yes. Cool, that's good. That's because I didn't know whether it was something. Oh, have I saved it as the wrong format? You know, should I be? But like you say, you've just answered it, saying that they do the compression that they do makes it suffer slightly.
With that in mind, if it's not going to kind of kill your computer to run it and stuff like that, what might be worth doing is experimenting with some of those settings to work out. Actually, you know, if I do put a higher resolution file in, you will end up with a slightly higher resolution file.
Better quality, yeah. I'll give that a play then.
So maybe next time, just push out a slightly higher resolution version and see if the one that when it comes back through the Facebook compression, see if it's
any better,
slightly better for you, and you'll be able to experiment with it that way. Okay. Next one is one, not really a tool as such, but a website that I think it's always well worth everybody kind of stopping by, even if it's on a kind of a 6-monthly basis. This is a site called SEOsitecheckup.com. And you can see on the right-hand side there, what that does is you put your website address into the orange bar at the top, and it will then trawl all of the various kind of on-page and off-page metrics that it needs to deliver a complete SEO checkup on your website. So that'll go through all of the back-end technicals, all of the front-end on-page, and things like your backlinks and stuff that we've talked about over the last few weeks as well. Obviously giving you all in one place kind of a very quick kind of checklist of either these are actions that I need to be completing kind of as a matter of urgency to try and improve my own kind of ranking within Google, or B, this is something I need to pass to my web guys and get them looking at pretty quickly as well, you know. So it's something, you know, with SEO, there's a lot of info that goes into it. It's something that, you know, for people that aren't necessarily that au fait with it, can be quite intimidating, and people don't really want to get too bogged down into the details of it. But, you know, we talked over the last few weeks about how important SEO is in the overall kind of puzzle for you guys when it comes to digital marketing. So it's definitely something to be trying to kind of get a grip on and start to try and upskill yourself with a little bit if you can. All of the information that it pushes out, it does so in fairly kind of straightforward, easy to understand language. So you don't necessarily need to be, you know, a top of the line webmaster or some SEO expert to be able to understand the reports that it puts out to you. And again, you know, if you decide over the weekend to go and run a report and want to have a chat about it and see, actually, Ben, what does this look like and what are the quick wins I can take from this, you're more than welcome to give me a shout, and I can have a chat with you offline and look through those with you to see if there's anything that we can identify. The other thing that it does as well, obviously, as well as being able to kind of analyze your own particular website, is you can put any website URL in the top of there as well, which will also give you, you know, the opportunity to kind of assess your competition's website and see how well they're performing and stuff as well.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and obviously how well you can kind of stack some of your activity to perhaps try and counter the shortcomings of some of your competition as well. So it's something that, again, is a 2-minute job to generate the report. It literally does it all for you within 2 minutes. And you can then, download that report and start to get to grips with kind of what the implications of it are. So even as just a dead easy bit of homework that you don't need to necessarily stress about too much right away, that could be a dead easy one for the bank holiday weekend, perhaps, to just run your SEO report and see what any of it says. Like I say, if you guys want to have a chat about them and any of the findings of those reports and what they mean for you, then feel free to give me a shout and we can have a chat through them as well. I think this is the last one I was going to mention to you today, and this is another one specifically for use within Instagram. This might be an issue that you guys have come across with links and Instagram. Have you guys come across this issue before, where obviously, for one, you can't click live links within Instagram posts, so you can only put text into captions and stuff. So, if you put a caption in going, great webinar today with Seb and Charlene, click here for the links. Obviously, I can put the link into my caption, but people can't actually click it and action it.
I realised that the other day. I think when I tried to put a link for YouTube, I was like, oh, can't click it. That was the first time I'd ever noticed it.
Yeah, which is a real pain. And obviously there is the option within Instagram to add a link at the top of your profile. But obviously that only can push people in one place. So if, for instance, I use my Instagram to showcase a lot of the work that I do day to day. But if people then click on my link, it's not necessarily then going to get them through to the piece of content they were looking at within Instagram. So what you can do with Campsite is set up kind of mobile optimized landing pages and use that as the link in your Instagram profile. So rather than it be, soverycreative.com, my Instagram link might actually read, soverycreative.campsite.com. But then when people click on it, rather than go through to my main live website right away, what they then kind of see is an intermediary landing page that rounds up, whatever information I might particularly want them to. So, people like, for example, the New Yorker, as an example, have got a similar system set up on their Instagram, which replicates their Instagram grid, but with clickable links, so that when you click when you want to explore, say, the news story behind a particular picture on the New Yorker, you click their link at the top of the profile, click the actual picture from the landing page, and it then delivers you through to the right piece of content. So it means you can kind of handhold people right the way through to finding the bit of content they were looking for. And you can also, if you've set up maybe special limited time offers, or, even when you want to collect email addresses from that landing page as well, you can use a really simple kind of drag and drop editor to build those kind of custom landing pages and put them to work kind of right away, in a sense, to perform kind of a slightly more usable springboard between the kind of the ecosystem of Instagram, where you've only got one route out, and then the actual end destination of your website, which is, got multiple kind of entry points that people could potentially be making their way through to. So this is just a way of A, making that journey a little bit more efficient for people, and B, like I say, if you are pushing out lots of content, for you, Charlene, it might be a product specifically that you've put out that you're launching into the Miss Campbell line. It's going to be really difficult for people to potentially, just click the Miss Campbell link at the top of that Instagram page and then find the correct profile, the correct product within your kind of overall product offering. So this is just a really nice way that you can make that process as easy as possible for people, ultimately with the, in your instance, Charlene, with the intent of getting them to the right product to buy it, so it's something that can really hopefully help to jump on what is a really engaged audience within Instagram, compared to some of the other platforms. We tend to find the kind of the clicks and the engagement rates tend to be comparatively quite high, but this is something that can help extend that even further and make the absolute most benefit of that audience coming through to you, if that makes sense.
So just a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Is this for your story and your actual posts, or is this for your profile?
Well, ultimately you could use it for both. So if you got if you'd reached the point where you got swipe up capabilities, you could put your campsite link as the end destination for your story content, as well as the profile link as well. So it's something that you can do kind of multiple ones. I can't remember off the top of my head, it's not a question I've asked before actually, whether you can create multiple campsites, and i.e. have one for the profile page and one for use within your stories. But yeah, ultimately, if you did have one set up, yeah, you'd be able to repurpose the link and use it as your destination for kind of story clicks as well. Sweet. So that covers the, what was that, 16, 17? I didn't count in the end, actually. The various kind of options that we've talked about today. These are all ones that we ultimately have used day to day with our clients over the last few years and stuff. You know, we try not to be in the habit of kind of recommending stuff that we haven't used and is potentially going to be a nightmare for you. These are all ones that we have kind of put to work and found really beneficial in one sector or another over the last few years with our clients. So hopefully they're ones that will be of use for you, and there's some bits there you can go away and start to kind of make use of. At this point, were there any kind of immediate questions that jumped out, or anything else that you wanted to cover today?
Charlene, you first.
I've actually got an appointment in a few minutes, so I'm going to have to go. But I didn't have any questions. You kind of covered everything. You are going to upload the slides, I'm assuming. So I'll go through them again, and if anything
already. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay. So then
about 20 minutes of me finishing this as well. Yes.
Yeah, so you're so organised. So there we go.
If there is something that comes up, feel free to give us a shout offline, Charles.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll go now, guys. But thank you so much, Ben. Nice to see you again, Seb.
See you later, Charlene. Have a good bank holiday weekend. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Sweet.
Yeah, just